Hello, welcome back to the Driving Coach. Our next lesson is going to be specifically around use of mirrors. I do want to try and do these early videos linking into the top 10 driving test fails, and this is number 2 on driving test fails, and it's use of mirrors whilst changing direction. So generally speaking, when most people start their lessons, they do understand that they've got to use the mirrors. If you speak to a friend or a family member or whoever who can drive someone that you know, no doubt they will try and drum into you just how important using your mirrors is. They'll say to you, you've got to use your mirrors all the time. So a lot of people get in the car and they do understand that they've got to use these mirrors a lot. We've got to make sure that we understand how to use them though, in what order to use them, why we're using them, when we need to use them, what we need to do when we've seen something in the mirrors. So that's what this video will be about. Very much to try and give you some understanding of how you use, not just using them all the time. So I'll start off with that approach that a lot of people have. Now, I myself failed my driving test when I was 17 on using my mirrors. I can't remember what the exact part was, but I know it was mirrors, and I know I was gutted, and I couldn't understand why I'd failed my driving test on my mirrors. Now, my driving instructor back then used to just bark at me and say, "Paul, mirrors, 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 mirrors." So I developed this way of using my mirrors, a little bit like of a haphazard scattergun approach, where I just thought, I'm going to look in my mirrors all the time, and I know I'm going to be okay. So when I failed my test, I genuinely got home and speaking to my dad and saying, they got it wrong there. You know, I was very, very upset, and I was very bothered because I felt as though I'd used my mirrors well, or used them enough. What had actually happened was I was just trying to use them all the time, and then when something else was happening, I wasn't looking at my mirrors at the right point. So trying to look at them all the time seemed like a good idea. But what you start to do, you start to miss the key points or the key moments when you must look in your mirrors. And that is really, really, really important. It's something that I see, frequently in the people that I teach. And I'm an absolute tyrant for the mirrors. In all my years of teaching people to drive, I've yet to have anybody fail their driving test on use of mirrors, because they're so important. So that's what this is going to be about. So using your mirrors effectively, what does that mean? So using your mirrors in good time, using them when you should use them, when you need to use them, and then act upon what you've seen in your mirrors, and also looking in your mirrors in the correct order. So let's look at use of mirrors while signalling. So use of mirrors while signalling should be mirror signal maneuver. It's the core of your driving. You check your mirrors, you consider a signal, and then you carry out your maneuver. So if I'm going to turn left, it's rear view mirror, and then left door mirror, and then signal. Turn right, rear view mirror, right door mirror, right signal. A good tip that I build upon with a lot of people is this: when let's say you've been told to turn right, or the sat nav is telling you in that 400 yards to turn right, but you can't exactly see where that turn is, just start to periodically check in your mirrors. So give it a rear view right mirror check, have a look for the junction, rear view right mirror check, have a look for the junction. You're building up a picture of what's going on behind you, and you're ready to act upon what is going on behind you. So it may be that if there's a vehicle quite close, you would want to signal a little bit earlier and warn them. Don't forget, the brakes are also a signal. So the brake lights are a signal. They're just to signal somebody to let them know that you are slowing down and potentially going to stop. Checking your mirrors while you're going to be checking your mirrors before you need to change direction. Really, really important. When might you need to change direction? Well, it might be when you are looking to change lanes. You might be sat at a set of traffic lights, about to turn left. You want to check in your left mirror. As you turn left, a cyclist could come up alongside you. You could knock them off their bike. when you're changing lanes. Try to look in your mirrors a number of times before you change lanes, so get that picture built up in your mind of what's going on. Don't just go mirrors move. Effectively look in your mirrors, look for something in your mirrors before you change direction. It's amazing how many times over the years I've checked my mirrors and thought I'll move, just check them again, and lo and behold there's somebody just sat there. If you've got to check your mirrors quite late when you approach something to change direction, nothing wrong with a blind spot check over your right shoulder as well. So that could be, you could say turn left round the corner. As you turn left round the corner, there could be a car park there. Not enough time to really effectively look in the mirrors there. I would mirrors, shoulder, and then I would look to move them. So specifically on the test, the second biggest reason people fail is because of mirrors whilst changing direction. So 3 things that I see and that are common on driving test fails. They don't check the mirrors before they turn. Quite simple, they'll turn, not check the mirrors. So before you make a turn, check your mirrors in the corresponding order. And you know there's a turn coming up. If you haven't checked your mirrors safely, make sure that you are working on building that as a habit and building that as a routine on every single drive. Be tough on yourself when you're doing it. Don't get upset if your instructor says to you, sorry, but you didn't check your mirrors quite well enough there, for example, not in the right order or whatever it might be. You know, they are just trying to help you build that habit. Your mirrors genuinely will continue to improve the more you drive, and that'll go on for the weeks, the months, the years, the decades that follow, or it certainly should do anyway. Changing lanes, big massive one, this one. See this all the time on driving lessons. Somebody just changes lane, don't check in the mirrors at all, or they don't look in them effectively. So let's say they want to turn right up ahead, set of traffic lights, could be a dual carriageway, 3 lanes. They need to get in the middle lane to turn right. They'll be looking in the rear view mirror, they'll signal, and then they'll start moving, and either not look in the mirror at all, which is, you know, really bad, or they'll look in the mirror as they're changing direction, but they should have done it long before they considered changing direction. Also, overtaking, a big reason that people get this wrong on their test. Part of, and I'll just drift into mirrors in general a bit for changing direction, but what people do, they lock on something. Now, overtaking is a great example. Could be a slow moving vehicle, it's a bike, and they lock onto that bike. They know they've got to overtake, they're staring at the bike thinking, how am I going to get past that? It's going really slow, what's coming towards me? And then before they realise it, they've started to move and they've gone around without checking the mirrors. So if you see something you think you might need to go around, early on, start checking in your mirrors. Right order, rear view right, we're going round right. Once you've gone past it, rear view left to come back in. Take every opportunity you can to build your mirrors habit. In my opinion of why people fail the driving test a lot on the mirrors is it's something that you're never going to escape. You're not going to avoid it, if you like. What I mean by that, for instance, you might not like doing right turns at crossroads. You might not like doing a parallel park. You might not do any of those on your drive. And lucky you, you've avoided something that you don't like. But your mirrors, unavoidable. It's constant all the way through your drive. And it's something that genuinely could go some way to saving your life or somebody else's life if you use them effectively and if you use them really, really well. So keep that in your mind, practice it, listen to what your instructor's saying to you, use any opportunity you can to get in your mirrors and to get used to looking in them effectively. That's the thing, effective use of the mirrors, not just looking in them all the time thinking that that's going to be enough, because you're not going to learn exactly when you need to look in them. So until the next time, guys, I'll see you all soon. Cheers. Don't forget to subscribe and like the videos, that'll help me. Thanks a lot. Cheers.